I don't know if you saw it, but I was actually checking my collar the whole time we were doing the mouth explosion because I just realized I put this shirt on like 3 minutes before we started recording, and I was like, oh man, I hope I didn't do the entire like whole segment with like my collar like wrapped in underneath my shirt or something, like an idiot.
It looked fine.
It's cool. It looks like a costume change. It's like, what's up, Diva?
Then I just pop the collar for, boom,
Spoilers!
day 2.
Great. Well, we are Voice of the Republic, and we are Ed.
And Mike.
And Carl.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. Hi. Right on. So, yeah, we're talking Star Wars Rebels.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
So you just wanted to go ahead and jump into the characters then? And
I think we should.
break it down? Because that's the big, like we said previously, that's the big thing that they've given us is the character profiles. So let's work with what they gave us.
Let's sort through these scraps. Yeah. I mean, the show comes on in fall, so really, what
they've got literally months. You know, it's like the better part of a year, like to get this all worked out and everything. So there's probably going to be some changes and everything, but so far this is the main characters that they've released little segments about, like little sneak peeks.
Yeah, it's cool. Cool. Let's start with a man called Kanan. What Dave Filoni calls the Cowboy Jedi.
See, right there, the first point, you know, and he says that, I'm just like, I'm fucking done. That's about enough to make me throw down my headset because
clear those cookies.
Because anytime that you qualify it, you're just like, oh, well, you know, he's just kind of like, you know, a gangster / cowboy / blah blah blah. You know, it's like, oh my god, it's like, and this is a
elevator pitch, right?
What?
Well, yeah, you have to give him that.
But it's so derivative. And that's the thing is like that's not the thing that you tell the fans. That's the thing you tell in the elevator. You know, it's like
you're a good point.
The fan should tell you. Right?
And yeah, exactly. I mean, and like you can be influenced by a cowboy. You know, it's kind of like when you watch Firefly. Like, yeah, it is inspired by westerns, but they don't beat you over the head with it usually. It's like they're not like, oh, look at this, he's a cowboy. You know, like they never say fucking cowboy once. You know, and it's like.
Yeah, there's something uncool about it.
Exactly. It's like kind of like whenever I'd be in a band and like a friend would come up and say like, well, you know, it's kind of like this song, and like I was totally turned off. I'm like, well, then why don't we just fucking cover that song if it's like that one? You know, it's like
you meet someone for the first time, they're like, yeah, no, hey, people tell me I'm a really funny guy. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Carl, dude, I'm sorry, but like, and it's just this is a band thing, but you will own this. When I was playing in a band, and it was so hurtful, and you just had to say it because after a while, it's like, what else do you say? Everybody with my band was like, it's kind of like Live meets U2, only with this, and Ed, I think it was The Cure or something like that. But there was like, I remember Live and U2 because both of those made me like, ooh. And after a while, the people would be like, so what's your band like? And I'd be like, Live and U2. Take the best songs from Live and the best songs from U2, and that's who we were. That's us.
And you know,
hurts.
It does. You know, it's like, and when you start doing that, it's just like. It just shows how derivative it is, in my opinion. You know, it's like let people like say like, oh, he's kind of a cowboy. Let them establish.
Right.
You know, it's like it's one thing if like someone comes up and says, oh yeah, you guys got kind of a YouTube vibe. You're like, well, thank you. You take that as a compliment because YouTube's like one of the biggest bands in the world. But when you come up and you say like, well, we kind of sound like YouTube, then you just kind of like sound like an ass sometimes. You know, it's
True.
like. And like Mike says, it hurts. You know, it's like when you start just like boiling it down like that. But and that's what I feel all these characters come down to, is that like when you watch those 2-minute little vignettes, like almost all of them, not all of them, but almost all of them have that like that catch. You're like, well, but here's the twist. I'm just like, characters? Can't we just figure this out? Like this is what these characters are.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know why they're trying to pigeonhole them so soon, because to me that makes. You know, part of the fun of getting into these stories, any fictional story, is learning the character. Just getting dropped in and You got to figure it out. Star Wars worked the same way. I mean, half the time you didn't even know people's names. You're just like, here we go. What's that? We don't have time to look at that. We have to keep going. And you'll figure it out later. But
you didn't even know what a Jedi was until about halfway through the movie.
Right. I mean, thank God Kanan doesn't wear like a cowboy hat. He doesn't have horns on his lightsaber or some bullshit. You know, that's a plus.
A big like Wampa belt buckle or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's enough to say he's, former Jedi. He's out on his own. That's enough. So that's basically who he is.
And I think that they ruined a perfectly good plot point by revealing he's a Jedi. How cool would it have been if you get this character and like you get to know him for like 3 to 4 episodes, and then just finally he finally breaks down. He's like, shit, it looks like I'm going to have to get my lightsaber out. And at first you just think that he's just like some cool old like middle-aged like grizzled smuggler sort of guy,
Well, they put that out there in the first episode. I don't know if you saw the latest video that just came out. Maybe I didn't. I thought I linked you guys to it. But this whole series is going to be a musical. So the first song is about him being a cowboy Jedi. I used to be a Jedi. Yeah.
It's hard to be a truck driving Jedi.
It's hard to be. All my Jedi died on Corey.
Nice. But yeah, I mean, and he looks like. But here's the worst part, though: is he actually does kind of look like a cool character. As much as I'm shitting on him, just the way that they revealed him and everything, and the way that they're not playing the character development close to the chest, and it's just it just kind of makes the character feel cheap and derivative. And right off the bat, we have him, and then we have who's going to be his Padawan. It's like right off the bat we already so it's going to be another fucking Jedi story.
Yeah, and to that, let's get into Ezra, which I just put as loner hero kid, but they have a much more derivative. Sell it to the money men. They call him he's the street smart, blah blah blah.
Oh, you mean Aladdin, who he looks just like?
Prince Ali. Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in on this one because I actually took notes as I watched the few people that I could watch. And it was Ezra. He's Luke wannabe meets Aladdin. He looks just like Aladdin. And then he's not mechanical, he's techie like Anakin. So what it says is, okay, all right, I know that I once heard an interview with Bobcat Goldthwait? Mm-hmm. And he was pitching Shakes the Clown. This is back in the 80s, you have to remember. And he's like, it's Shakes the Clown. It's a little bit like Barfly. And they were like, well, people really like E.T. And he was like, it's a little bit like E.T. It's like E.T. meets Barfly. and he was just saying whatever he could to get this movie made.
Right.
And watching these almost felt as though they were like, do you like Matchbox cars? Because this is going to have Matchbox cars. Do you like Legos? Everything is awesome. It's got, we did this, we did that. And, one of the things I took away from the watching the little thing about Ezra was that even the music in the background, which felt Star Wars, and because you're seeing, like Carl said, the orange and stuff like that, I still feel like I was watching, and I hate saying this, I don't want to be a Disney hater, because people who are listening, if you don't live in Orlando, what you have to know is that everybody in Orlando just abhors Disney, and I don't want to hate Disney. But this does feel very Disney. It doesn't look as much Clone Wars as it does Frozen.
Okay. And it makes sense. They're under their roof, so I hate to say it, but it could be that since they lived under the Lucas banner for so long, they may be just trying to appease the people upstairs, going with what they know. Clone Wars to me was a whole lot of, what if everybody remember the Cairo swordsman, but instead he's got a lightsaber and a robot head. That'll work, right? And Lucas is like, yeah, that'll work. Here's an old name from the first book I ever wrote. We'll put that in there. Oh, that's great, George. That's great.
What sucks is that everybody, it's once it seems like the ruination of anything artistic is when its creator recognize. Finally, the light goes on. Oh, that's the recipe. Oh, there's my recipe. I've got the formula. I've made the formula. Like I've established the hope note. I hit that hope note. Now I can write every fucking chorus on the planet.
Right. And Disney is. I mean, they pretty much pioneered that whole approach of we struck gold. Let's just plow through with our golden plow. Unfortunately, it fails over time. But it looks like that's the other half of the Clone Wars approach is tickle the fans' nostalgia and the geeks' sense of EU and what they know from all the sketchbooks, but then we'll add all this other tried and true and wrung out tropes that everybody knows and is very comfortable with.
I'm sorry, homage. We prefer homage, not trope.
Oh,
my bad.
I do have one other thing I want to say about Ezra.
Okay.
Yet another Mary Sue character. We got this teenage kid that, for probably no good reason, can hack a door. He can be a slicer. Oh, he has force powers. He's super sneaky. My
least favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I just have a feeling that we're going to get this character again. That's just like, oh well, we want to make him special, so that way everyone feels like I'm the Ezra of the group. It's like no, there's no Ezra of the group. No one is Ezra. Like in real life, there is no Ezra. It's like.
Yeah. I was fine with Kanan being the only Jedi because all the Jedi are underground. They're a rare thing, right?
Yeah.
So let's keep that a rare thing.
Yeah. So I just think like making him like kind of that like I'm good at everything and I'm so relatable. Like oh fuck you. It's like I want to line you up in front. That way you might get shot first.
Yeah. Well, I think Zeb is going to be a real quick run through. He's, I'm down here as the gentleman soldier, and they just really try to drive home how smart he is and how good he is at fighting. But he's so smart, you guys. He's not just big; he's smart.
And ironically, I think he's probably going to be the most interesting character out of the whole thing.
I do really dig. And the one thing, one of the few things I really, really liked is the fact that. I could care less about his voice. They were kind of like trying to, and the voice, you're never going to believe who the voice is.
Well, because it's the guy that did Metal Gear Solid. He's Solid Snake.
Yeah, but who else knows that besides you?
A lot of people in the cartoons are big into like the voice actors.
I guess. Dude. Oh yeah, people. When I was in school, man, the kids, those are stars to these kids nowadays. Yeah. But the one thing I didn't give a crap about any of it really. I dug the voice; it was all right. But the fact that he has that, that European, is it Irish sound to him?
Kinda, yeah.
It kind of eludes, it reminds me, and yes, they're hitting the nostalgia button, but it reminds me of watching background footage of Star Wars because of the original Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of the stagehand people and background people were all, none of them were American, so you heard a lot of that, and you're like, wow, who are these people? And this guy has that. So it's kind of like, that's kind of a little Star Wars thing.
I'm also wondering if it's going to be kind of a foreshadowing to what his backstory is, because since all the Imperials have like an English accent, I'm wondering if they're just going to be like, oh yeah, he's the Scottish/Irish one. He's the one that got oppressed, and they just kind of like pissed all over his people for like 3,000 years, and you're like,
yeah,
they can actually fit real world, politic into it.
Right.
So I'm wondering,
English colonies, you mean?
Yeah. So I mean, like. Yeah. Because, there's still people that want Scotland independent and Ireland independent and, all that different stuff. Like that's a thing that's still going on even in the modern day. So maybe you see a little bit in the Clone Wars. That's asking a lot, though, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah, well, that'd be great. I'd like to see the, like Star Wars Nelson Mandela's come out and all that kind of thing. Just to mention, political heroes, things like that. Kids need to know about.
There's nothing sexy about
that. No, they don't. Okay. Well, I think we're good for tonight then. So, awesome. We'll get into.
So what was the general consensus of?
What?
I'm sorry. What was the general consensus on?
About what?
Ezra.
On Ezra or Zeb?
Ugh. I forgot to care. Sorry.
It'll make sense when you buy all the toys, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, you want me to read the end thing?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Hey guys, if you give a shit about what we're talking about, do us a favor. You can contact us at voiceofrep@gmail.com, and you can go to our webpage thing, which isn't written on here, but I will give you the Republicom number. Leave us a 2-minute message. Up to 2 minutes. Pull it in tight, practice it, give yourself a whatever those things are, a script. But the number is 407-409-8749. Tell us what you want to tell us. Talk about what you want to talk about.
Tell us
We'll
your
bring it up.
secrets.
And we don't scan through these and all that kind of stuff. So this is real. This is real America.
Yeah, this is real talk.
Yeah, and that's what I've got. Republicom and the voicemail number.
That's it. The website is vorradio.com, and you can link to all the stuff Mike just said, and the very active, very fit, looks good for its age, the Facebook group. So come and hang out.
Yes.
There you go.
It's like 30 in internet years.
Yeah, it's like 'cause no one really uses the groups anymore, but it works really well, and there's lots of people always posting. There's people posting so much stuff that they post the same thing 3 times.
Yeah. They don't have time to read. They're just too excited. You guys!
Did you see this new toy post? Did you see the same new toy post? Did you see the same new toy post?
I love it when people get excited like that.
Dude, it's great. It shows that they're actually excited about something Star Wars, which, isn't always the case with our circle of friends and fans and listeners and family. So.
But they post a lot of good stuff, not like
Yes,
another
they do.
picture of really adorable Lego stormtroopers picking up Lego poop or something, It's like, please. All right, cool. Let's get out of here.
I want out of here.
All right. May the Force
Be with.
That ass.